I never thought a parade could change my life. But standing there in my uniform, listening to those kids laugh at me, I felt smaller than I ever had. That's when she stepped out of the crowd. I'm a firefighter, and I love what I do. But that 4th of July, I learned that sometimes the biggest rescue isn't the one you expect. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our stories. Now, let me tell you what happened that day. It was early morning when Chief Rodriguez assigned me to the parade detail. Station 12 always participates in the 4th of July parade, and this year it was my turn. I'd been with the department for 8 months, still the rookie, still trying to prove myself. The older guys at the station gave me the usual ribbing as I polished the old engine we'd be driving. The parade route went through downtown, past the park where families were already setting up their blankets and lawn chairs. Kids waved little flags, and the smell of hot dogs and popcorn filled the air. I was nervous but excited. This was my first big community event as a firefighter. Everything started fine. We drove slowly down Main Street, the engine's siren chirping occasionally. I stood on the side rail, waving to people. Some waved back. Others took pictures. Then we stopped at a red light near the town square, right in front of a group of teenagers hanging out by the fountain. One of them pointed at me and said something to his friends. They all turned to look. Then the laughter started. Loud, mocking laughter. One kid yelled out, asking if I was even old enough to drive. Another made a joke about me being too short to reach the hose. His friends doubled over laughing. My face burned. I tried to keep smiling, to stay professional, but my hands gripped the rail tighter. The light seemed to take forever. People around us were watching now, some looking uncomfortable, others pretending not to notice. I felt like I was back in high school, standing alone in the cafeteria while everyone stared. The worst part wasn't the words. It was the feeling of being invisible and exposed at the same time. Like nothing I'd done mattered. Not the training, not the fires I'd helped fight, not the car accident last month where I held a woman's hand while we cut her free. In that moment, I was just someone to laugh at. Then something shifted in the crowd. A woman stepped forward from the sidewalk. She was maybe in her late 20s, wearing jeans and a blue tank top, her dark hair pulled back in a ponytail. She walked right up to those teenagers and said something I couldn't quite hear over the engine noise. Whatever she said made them stop laughing immediately. One kid tried to argue back, but she cut him off. She wasn't yelling, but there was something in her stance, the way she held herself, that commanded attention. The teenagers mumbled something and walked away, looking embarrassed. The light turned green, and we started moving again. But she turned and looked directly at me. She gave me a small nod, like she was saying it was okay, that she understood. Then she smiled. Not a pitying smile, but a real one, warm and genuine. Something in my chest loosened. I didn't know what to do, so I nodded back. The parade continued, but I kept thinking about her. Who was she? Why did she stand up for me? I scanned the crowds as we drove, hoping to see her again, but she disappeared into the sea of people. After the parade, we parked the engine back at the station. The guys asked how it went, and I told them it was fine. I didn't mention the teenagers or the woman. I didn't know how to explain what had happened, what it meant to me. That evening, there was a fireworks celebration at the park. Off duty, I almost didn't go. But something pulled me there. I walked through the crowds, families spreading blankets on the grass, kids running around with sparklers. The sky was getting darker, that deep blue before night fully settles in. I bought a bottle of water from a vendor and found a spot near the edge of the park. That's when I heard a voice behind me. A familiar voice, though I'd only heard it once. She was there. The woman from the parade. She was sitting on a blanket by herself, a book in her lap. When she saw me looking, she smiled again. That same warm smile. My heart pounded as I walked over. I asked if I could join her, expecting her to say no, to explain she was waiting for someone. But she said yes and patted the blanket beside her. We started talking. Her name was Emma. She was a teacher at the elementary school, just moved to town 6 months ago. She'd seen me at the parade and remembered my face when those kids started mocking me. She told me she couldn't stand bullies, that she dealt with them every day in her classroom, and sometimes adults needed to be reminded how to act too. I thanked her, told her she didn't have to do that. She looked at me seriously and said she did. She said being brave isn't about being fearless. It's about doing what's right even when you're scared. She could see I was scared up there on that truck, trying to hold it together, and she couldn't just stand by. Something about the way she said it made my throat tight. Nobody had ever seen through me like that before. Nobody had ever defended me like she had. The fireworks started, bright explosions of color painting the sky. We sat there together, not saying much, just watching. But it felt like we'd known each other forever. Between the booms and the sparkles, we talked about our lives, our jobs, what brought us to this town. She laughed at my stories from the station. I listened as she described her students and how much she loved teaching. When the finale ended and the park started to empty, I didn't want the night to end. I asked if I could see her again. She said yes without hesitating. That was 3 years ago. Emma and I got married last spring. She still teaches at the elementary school, and I'm still fighting fires. Sometimes I bring the truck to her school for safety demonstrations, and her students think I'm the coolest person alive. She always winks at me when they say that. I learned something important that 4th of July. The people who mock you don't define you. The people who stand up for you, who see your worth when you can't see it yourself, those are the ones who matter. And sometimes, if you're really lucky, one of those people becomes your whole world. That parade was supposed to be just another day, another duty. Instead, it gave me everything. It gave me Emma. It gave me the reminder that kindness exists, that courage comes in many forms, and that the worst moments can lead to the best things in life. Thank you so much for watching this story. It means the world to me that you stayed until the end. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you ever had a stranger stand up for you? Or maybe you were that stranger for someone else. Share your stories below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We share real stories from real firefighters every week. Check out our other videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there, everyone.